Week 2 begins tonight with a battle that's going to tell us a lot about the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. I'm going to give you the preview based on what I've seen on film from the Week 1 games, and then I'm going to give you my prediction. If you do enjoy the content, please feel free to subscribe, comment what your thoughts are. It is always greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into it. We'll start off on this side of the ball, the Bills offense versus the Miami Dolphins defense. When the Bills took on the Cardinals in Week 1, they looked as dependent on Josh Allen as they've ever been, and they've been dependent on Josh Allen to carry them along over the last few years, even with Stephon Diggs in the team. But now that Stephon Diggs has moved on, and it's guys like Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Kincaid and Dawson Knox are useful, the two tight ends, but nothing in terms of a number 1 receiver. In fact, you could argue there's nothing in terms of a number 2 receiver. We'll see what Keon Coleman turns into. Quite liked him coming out of the draft. It's not who I would have taken in the first round. Personally, I would have been going for Ladd McConkey or Adonai Mitchell. Now, I do quite like the Bills' run game. I definitely like James Cook. I also think they've got something in Ray Davis, the rookie they've just brought in. I also think the O-line is reasonably solid and can create a bit of movement in the run game. The Dolphins were able to shut down the Jaguars' run game in Week 1, but only by selling out to defend the run. They lost Christian Wilkins in the off-season, so I think they've got that understanding that they have to commit their linebackers to defending the run, and that will leave a bit of space in behind for the likes of Keon Coleman and the rest of that receiving group. With this said, the Bills' offense struggled against the Cardinals' defense, which has nothing. And so I would think that the likes of Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller in the secondary, they'll be able to stay on top of these Bills receivers, and Josh Allen will have to drag the Bills offense along. And he probably will, to some extent, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it enough against this Dolphins defense the way he could against the Cardinals defense. Not that I think this Dolphins defense is unbreakable by any means, but I feel even less confident in this Bills offense. So now let's get into the Dolphins offense versus the Bills defense, and let me tell you, I was not keen on the Dolphins offense watching them against the Jaguars defense. The Jaguars had speed at cornerback to stay on top of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to some extent for enough of the game. The Dolphins should have lost that game if it wasn't for Etienne fumbling into the end zone and a couple of other moments similar to that. But with the Jaguars' speed in the secondary and they have linebackers who can attack the sideline, the Dolphins like to get to the edge, outside tosses, screens. In fact, they do that more than any team in the NFL. That was like their whole offense when I watched them in Week 1, and they really got found out as an offense. Their entire success was Tyreek Hill being the most dangerous weapon in the league. However, despite me thinking they will continue to get found out against the better defenses in the league, there are other games where it will work, and I think this is one of them. They've got Teron Armstead and Austin Jackson at tackle. I think they can hold off Gregory Rousseau and AJ Epinesa just enough to give Tua a bit of time. And I also think there's no way the Bills are able to stay on top of the weapons like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the way that speedy Jaguars defense did. The Bills gave up opportunities to the likes of Marvin Harrison all over the field in Week 1, and if it wasn't for Kyler Murray being the quarterback, and that's a separate discussion, he struggles to take those opportunities. He definitely misses a ton of reads, mainly due to his height and lack of ability to see the full field. So there's going to be space for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and that's going to be really dangerous. As well as this, a run game that found no success in Week 1, trying to attack the sidelines and find space to the outside. The Bills don't have that linebacker who can cover sideline to sideline. The Jags had Devin Lloyd and Foyesade Oluokun, a really, really solid linebacking duo. The Bills, now that they've lost Matt Milano for the season, they should be really concerned because I just don't think they have the guys to fill that void. So actually, the more I went into it, as much as I didn't enjoy the Dolphins' offense in Week 1, I think they're going to find much more success here against the Bills. Something really important for the Dolphins is that they're at home. I think if this game was in Buffalo, I'd be looking at it slightly differently. Tua typically struggles to find his rhythm in cold conditions, but in Miami against this Bills defense, I think they can find a way of getting going. And so I actually went with 30-21 as a scoreline prediction. So Dolphins to beat the spread of 2.5 fairly comfortably, and the over-under could go either way, honestly. I had it sneaking towards the over, just because I can see a couple of mistakes here and there, giving the opponent easy field position. I could obviously see Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Josh Allen these sort of explosive players to break away for a long touchdown. So yeah, this isn't my favourite matchup in the world, just because I'm not a huge fan of these two teams and the way they're put together. But I do think this Miami offense and Josh Allen on the other side and slightly weaker defenses, I think it could be a high-scoring, close game and could be really exciting. Like I said at the start, if you do enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. It would be greatly appreciated. Keep an eye out for some more previews and predictions coming along, and I'll see you next time.